Welcome to another episode, Dr. James Beckett Sports Card Insights. This is a pre-tribute episode, similar to what I did to my dad 17 days ago, because my mom is having her 94th birthday. Sorry, Mom, to reveal your age, that age difference and that closeness in birthdays is indicative of the closeness of my mom and dad. So I'm very blessed to have parents that have had a long and happy and fruitful marriage, very much in sync, and that's been wonderful to observe and learn from. So now that you know my mom's age, sorry, Mom, the interview portion that's going to follow, this is my little preamble where I thank the sponsors and give you a little heads up on what you're going to hear. I decided to just provide the interview portion. It obviously was unscripted, but it also has been not edited. So it's just my conversation of a few minutes with my mom about issues and things that I think hopefully you'll find interesting. I learned a couple things. As you know, I'm doing I'm doing a daily podcast. So if my goal is to do this for 4 years, I should have 1,000 episodes. So this will be one of them. Not going to do family members all the time, but this is certainly my mom's really obviously worthy of honor, and today is her birthday. So I hope you'll indulge me with that. My dad had a great corporate career, and you look at that aspect of it, but it was my mom that had to restart our family. I lived in 18 houses in my first 18 years of life. So that sounds great that my dad's getting promoted. On the other hand, my mom's starting a new home and decorating and doing all the stuff with 5 kids. I was the oldest of 5, and getting us in a new school. It seemed like almost every year for a while there. My mom was always very much into sports, way more than the average mom. She's played tennis for many decades and done very well with that. And so she's still playing at 94. But as well, she loves watching and talking about sports. So again, I've got a wonderful mom. To thank the sponsors, and sponsors, you know that I do know some of the fathers of the sponsors, as I mentioned, but I do not know the moms of the sponsors. I know some of the outstanding wives, but I don't know the moms. So this may be a more unique episode where I'm talking about somebody's mom. Well, it's my mom. My sponsors are Beckett Media, Beckett Authentication, Beckett Grading, ComC.com, Burbank Sports Cards, Mike's Stadium Sports Cards, Heritage Auctions, Huggins and Scott Auctions, Panini, Topps, and Upper Deck. So I hope you enjoy the next few minutes, which is my interview of my mom, and we'll get right into it. Thanks, listeners.
If I told you the truth, I would say that I would worry to death.
No, we're not. We do positive tone. Okay. We do positive tone. So let me start by saying this is my mom, Jane Beckett. I'm delighted to have an opportunity to talk to my mom about, at least for the benefit of our listeners in the podcast. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my dad and my mom, especially my mom. And I realize now that when my dad was working and my mom was home for a lot of those formative years, she was the one that saw me with my cards on the floor or on the desk or in the closet, wherever they were. And I didn't always put my cards away. So my side of the story is that when I was probably 11 or 12, you warned me to put my cards away, and I didn't put them away, and the next day they were gone. Now, they were my duplicates, but that it would be a felony now, Mom, because there'd be a lot of zeros in the value. You would have to go to jail. There's no statute of limitations. Do you remember that? Do you remember pitching some of my duplicates?
No, I don't remember taking cards
in the dumpster.
Really?
I promise you. They were there, and then they weren't there, and I asked you, and you said, I warned you to put them away. Now, the good thing is the lesson was that I learned is that if my mom says she's going to do something, she's going to do it. Your word is important, and I have tried to carry that out into my life, too, that say what you mean and do what you say. And unfortunately, in that experience, I had to learn the painful lesson that I didn't do what I should have done. You always save things, but I don't remember you having that many collections other than the collecting 5 kids along the way.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you did. I guess you have some.
I didn't have those then.
But things were moving too fast in those days to with?
Well, there wasn't money to have a collection of anything, but I found a lot of pleasure in sewing.
Okay.
I did a lot of sewing with 3 daughters. They all had dresses, and I enjoyed that. I didn't even know I could sew.
You did knitting, and for listeners, I just want to tell you, if you saw my mom knitting from behind and saw me sorting cards from behind, it's some of the same hand motions of in and out, and so that's just an aside. But we moved a lot, and so I do remember that, which was a benefit to me in the sense that I got to try new schools every year, and I got new friends, and there was a new neighborhood with other kids. In many of those situations, they collected cards. But what did you think? Or, well, first of all, where did I get the money for the cards? Because I don't remember having much of an allowance.
I know, but you had little jobs.
Okay. And cards cost a penny or a nickel, or
yeah.
But did you think that was frivolous when I was doing that, or you thought that was just a?
I thought that having more than 2 cards was frivolous.
Of the same. Okay.
Of the same thing, yeah. But no, I thought that was kind of neat.
But you all in my life, I think you've always been a sports fan.
Yes, I have.
So that's a positive. So you didn't think I was, and baseball. You're more basketball and.
I'm more basketball now, but my father played baseball. He actually played in the, like semi-pros for a little while.
And he was lefty, right? He was left-handed. He played golf left-handed, didn't he? You're kidding. Left-handed. Your dad?
No, he wasn't left-handed.
I've thought that my whole life now. I thought that was justifying my left-handedness. Well, apparently I missed on that one. So your sister was left-handed. Ann?
Yes.
Okay, well, yes. I'm 1 for 2 then. When I started the company, which was, again, just like Dad's, your husband, my father's journey of going from the seeming security of a paycheck and being with a large company and going off on your own. You had that experience with Dad, y'all starting something or buying into something. And then you saw that with me. And then shortly after that, I wound up hiring my little sister. And I just wanted to ask you didn't have any second thoughts or cautions about that, or did you think that was a good idea? We'd always gotten along, but when you worked with Dad for some of those years, and it can be tricky on a marriage or a family situation. But did you have any trepidation or any?
I really didn't, because she was always a Bonnie personality, and I don't think she'd ever really been challenged. And I was so happy that she was going to come and work for you.
Well, it worked fabulous. The only problem came when we hired a third person. It wasn't family. And then at some point, Claire had to let that person go for good reason. And she later became pretty good, actually very good at managing people. But in the early days, she said, I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah, I'm
going to have to leave early today on this Friday. Would you mind talking to so-and-so that this is their last day? But she was just a great blessing to me and our company and the industry. And so I'm guessing that you knew that would be the case before it even happened. I think that's kind of cool to have 2 of your kids working together and enjoying the business they're in and enjoying working with each other. And you saw from not a great distance, from a shorter distance, that we had an awful lot of nice employees. And that wasn't just me and Claire. It was a bunch of them that you met at various things. I don't think we had very many bad apples. I think we had people that enjoyed working in a hobby business that had to do with sports. And we had kind of not super nice offices, but nice enough offices that people that had some detail, had some situations where people could say, hey, this is a company where I can enjoy working here. Did you have that sense?
Well, yeah, and I just was so happy that Claire particularly enjoyed it, and it just freed her to be creative.
To be creative more,
and she's a very happy person when she's creating, and she's easy to get along with. She has a second sense, I think, about people.
She probably had I had a podcast a couple weeks ago with Jay Johnson, who probably had the highest percentage of disagreeing with me on things. And he was one of the higher ups in our company. And he was a good guy, but he could be a contrary. Claire was the opposite of that. But it wasn't that Claire and I colluded. There would be a decision to be made, and like everybody would be thinking one way, and then I'd say, well, here's the way I see it. And the only person in the room that would say, that makes a lot of sense, would be the person that could actually finish my sentence or unpack the idea further. And it was Claire, my sister. And we hadn't done any homework. She figured out pretty early on, without the experience within the sports collectibles hobby, some of the concepts and theories that made us successful. And so she didn't need a lot of micromanaging, because she understood the big picture, and then she allowed her natural creativity to bring us into some other areas. We wouldn't be in Pokemon and Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Neopets, those other things we did. A lot of that was Claire, along with Jeff, her husband. So,
but you gave her the freedom to do those things, to check those things out.
Well, I don't. I mean, again, this is awkward conversation, because I think she earned it. I don't think I gave it to her. I think I wanted her to succeed, but I couldn't make her succeed. She couldn't succeed just because she had similar DNA or was in my family. She earned it, and she greatly earned the respect of the people there. They weren't paying attention to her because she was my little sister. They were paying attention to her because she was made some great calls. A series of great calls that really allowed our company to blossom and diversify.
See, that makes my heart glad.
Well, as a mom, it should. I'm very blessed to have a godly mom and dad who did not perfect, but did a lot more things right. Obviously, for listeners out there, if your parents are perfect, that's really a bad thing, because then you can absolutely never measure up. So my parents made mostly right decisions, and that's my goal too. And it was Claire's and my brother and my other sisters as well. So very blessed to be the oldest of 5 in a family that moved around a lot. And my mom was the one that kept it together. The only thing that got lost were those extra 61 tops, which again, just like there's a statute of limitations on my dad's Babe Ruth card, I can't very well treat my mom with any less grace or mercy than my dad has treated me. So, Mom, thanks for visiting with us. I hope our listeners have enjoyed it. We'll do it again, perhaps. Thanks, listeners, for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode.